And we are live. Happy Wealthy Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, wherever you are tuning in from in the world. Today, I'm beautiful Los Banos, Central Valley. I'm working remotely today, but I am so fired up for Wealthy Wednesday. I love Wealthy Wednesday because it's just about everything to do with money, right? We talk about all things money here. And today, we have an incredible guest. I'm telling you, this woman is going to knock your socks off. She drops gold, golden nuggets, golden bars. They call her the voice within that wins. And I always say that the foundation to your health, to your financial health and success is a wall of wealth. But the infrastructure is the mindset. And today we're going to talk about our money mindset. So please give it up, give a LinkedIn, wherever you are, shout out for the amazing SOAR in 2024, Miss Cassandra Terry.
Hello, Leah. Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So give us a moment, just kind of give us a little overview of who you are and what's this voice within and SOAR and all this amazing background that you've got going on here.
Sure. So I am Cassandra Terry, and you see M3 after my name there. I started a company a couple of years ago, Manifesting Miracle Makers, and it is all about the mindset. At my company, the slogan is "The voice within wins." And what I mean by that is what you believe to be true about yourself, what you believe you deserve, what you believe that you're capable of, your mind, your environment, everything is going to align to make that belief true. So if you're struggling with your inner voice, if your inner voice is more of a critic than a champion, then you are standing between you and the life that you desire. So the work that I do as a mindset coach, a mindset strategist with my clients is to really tap in and help them to understand what that mindset what their mindset is. And when we find areas where things are not as they would like for them to be, instead of getting upset about that, we take the time to reframe that, do the work so that you can become the cheerleader for yourself, to cheer yourself on, to be your own champion, and to help you accomplish the life that you desire. That's what it's all about.
I absolutely love that, especially because you refer to champion. One of my favorite quotes is, "You cannot measure the heart of a champion just by looking at him," right? We all see the exterior. We all see the after. Like you're seeing the Cassandra Terry, the after. But I'm curious, give us a glimpse. What was the Cassandra Terry before, right? We always are refining and getting ourselves to another level. There's always another level. But take us back a little bit. Did you have a time when maybe that voice within wasn't quite so serving you, when the
Absolutely.
people that was talking to you or maybe not pumping positive words of affirmation into you? So share with us if you don't
Oh
mind.
gosh, I love that question so much. And let me tell you, the reason I love that question is because one of the things that I love, a quote that I've heard for years that I love is, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you're new in your journey and you're trying to learn to do a thing and you're looking at somebody who's been doing it for years, you see their results. You don't see everything that they've been through to get to the results that you're admiring today. So it could actually end up being disheartening for people to think, well, I could never do that. I could never speak that way. I could never. Everyone has had a journey. No one popped up on the scene full of all their skills, spit and polished and ready to go. And so your question leads right into that. The Cassandra of before was a person who really struggled with my inner voice. I really struggled with self-esteem. Some people believe in imposter syndrome, others don't. I don't really care what side of the fence people fall on things like that. But the result of the conversation for me and how I was existing is I was shocked every time good things happened to me in my career, especially because I didn't believe in my own abilities. I was so convinced that everybody else was wrong, that I had them fooled, that somehow they thought that I knew more, was more capable of what I really was. And it was only a matter of time before they figured it out and I was seen to be who I truly was. This little, scared little girl in a corner, hoping that no one figures out that she's not as smart as they think they are. That's how I lived for a very, very long time. My career has been for years, and my corporate career has been in the IT space. So I work for a company who we're putting out new products, software and things like that regularly. I'm not a coder, right? So when I got the job, I was working in the business operations side of things, but I felt very, very inferior. I didn't feel like my value was there because I wasn't a coder. And since I couldn't do what was the core of what the company was built on, that I just felt like I couldn't push back, even if I really believed that what was going on wasn't right. I couldn't tackle those guys because what if they made fun of me? What if they figured out something that I didn't? And so I lived in fear all the time. And knowing that I didn't feel like I belonged. It really limited how I showed up in meetings, how forthcoming I was with my ideas. When you're afraid to make a mistake, you're only going to do the things that you think you're guaranteed to be successful at. You won't venture out, you won't be innovative. You're less likely to collaborate because if you get too close to somebody, they may figure it out. So I'll have put myself in a very, very small box. It was not a fun place to be. But I didn't believe in myself. And that's why I'm so passionate. And that's why the business was born, because I'm not the only one.
Right.
But I know that there's an other side to the story because I've walked it. I've made it through those limiting beliefs. And now I totally believe in myself. I believe I'm capable. I believe I'm deserving. And I believe the same of everyone that comes within my path. And so I want to take that process that I went through. And even if your journey is different, I at least can be someone that you can look at and go, man, she thought nothing of herself. And look at her now. If I don't feel good about myself, I know I can get through it because she did. And so that's how the business was born.
Wow. I love that. And I'm a true testament to you truly do believe in everyone. I've watched you with different people in different situations. And you just have such a clean filter with it. I don't know how else to really say that, because sometimes it can be really easy to bring our preconceived notion about somebody, their background, or just, where they come from. But I've watched you do with so many different people. And that's what I just love and admire and respect you so much.
Thank you.
So share with me, you said, you were shocked when you had success. Mm-hmm. One of your favorite quotes that I use all the time: do it scared, do it with shaky legs, do it even if your voice trembles. Tell me a time when you did it and then you were shocked. Like, can you remember that one particular time, and then that was maybe kind of what opened your space up to start to believe in yourself? What did that look like?
What was pivotal in my career was I had a manager, a general manager. She was really a big deal in the company and still is. She decided that it was time for me to move into management, people management. I had been doing project management for a long time, and I didn't feel like I could say no because that would be career limiting. But I also didn't feel like I should say yes because I didn't feel qualified. Right. And so I wrestled with that thing and I wrestled with that thing. And I took the position. I did tell her about some of my concerns. Why would you want me for this particular role when what these people do is not what I've done? So I don't feel like I'm going to be able to really help them. And so she shared with me why she thought I was the ideal person for the job, what it was about me that was going to make their lives easier, and that I was going to learn what they knew as well. So it was a win-win situation. And she showed a lot of confidence in me. I shaky legs, Leah, shaky legs, trembling voice, scared, but I went ahead and did it. And that yes opened up the rest of my life, in terms of how I see myself, what I'm capable of, because now I'm managing the coders and the testers and the people that I don't feel, the people that I felt inferior to, and they're coming to me and I'm helping them solve their problems and I'm helping them figure out their career trajectory and all the things that a good manager is supposed to do. I was able to do despite the limitations that I had built up for myself within my head, which is why I talk about the voice within. The voice within is all about you. Our external circumstances, sometimes we can't change those. Right. But if we change how we're looking at them, how we're
Mhm.
processing what's going on. If we set ourselves up so that we can stay innovative and keep problem solving and keep moving forward despite the external circumstances, we shorten how much time that we stay in that dark place. And so that's what I'm about. It's like, I am here. I'm not telling you guys what I heard. I'm telling you what I've experienced. And I would love to help short circuit that journey for someone else. Help them see the light in their own eyes, see their own capabilities. And because once you figure it out, once that switch goes on, it will not go back off. Once you know the power that's within you, what you're capable of, there's no stopping a person who believes in themselves.
Yeah.
And that's all internal. It has nothing to do with external circumstances.
Wow, that's so, so great. So you're talking about the peaks and valleys. That's one of my
Mhm.
favorite books. It's not about not having the valleys. It's shortening that cycle and
Mhm.
understanding that through that valley, you're going to have that propel to that next level, right?
Exactly.
So one
Exactly.
of the things that I see when it comes to mindset, money
Mhm.
mindset, is people do a lot of self-sabotage. They
Mhm.
say they want to invest in save for retirement, but then, they just can't see their way to the next appointment. Or they say they want to do better and get out of debt, but then they go back and they, buy a new Gucci purse.
Mhm.
Like, what is the biggest thing that you see that people kind of, if you could kind of generalize it, if possible, why people self-sabotage? What is those messagings? What's that voice generally saying? What's that usually about?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is exactly that. It is self-sabotage. It's funny. I know you with our time zone differences, and I think you said you had some technical issues this morning, but we kind of dove into this accidentally. We kind of fell into this topic on the morning show today. And people make bad decisions with their money for usually it comes from something way back that the little kid in them learned, right? Where's your value? If you don't value you, then that Gucci purse may be the only thing that makes you feel good as a person. So as much as you want to have that savings, as much as you want to do all the right things to create the life, your real energy goes into looking the part more than being the part. It's so important that you look like you have these things when you don't have that core belief in self. And if you don't feel like waking up first thing in the morning, before you brush your teeth, before you do your hair, before you've done any of the stuff, that you are perfect as you are valuable as you are capable of whatever you need to do at your rawest. If you truly believe that a Gucci bag is an accessory, if you don't believe it, it can become a necessity. And there's a big difference between an accessory and a necessity. Some
That's right.
people need that because that's the only place where their feel good comes from. We're saying a Gucci bag, but it could be any luxury item. It could be the car you drive. It could be the house. I don't want a purse more than I want to be able to have the funds in it to take care of my lifestyle and to support my children and things like that. But I didn't always feel that way. I grew up from in a poverty stricken situation on government assistance. And sometimes there was more month than there was money. The month is the next check didn't come until the first of the month. And so if the next check doesn't come until then, we've got to figure out how to make it, right? And that was not that uncommon of a situation when we were younger. And so I was really tired of being the person who needed something from somebody all the time, being the charity case, and I didn't realize how big this was. This was something that I've had to work through even in my later adulthood, because thank God he took away that fear of poverty, and I've been really blessed in my career and in my business, and so we've been able to manage that part of our lifestyles, that of our life. However, there was still this need for the things, for the stuff in me. My husband doesn't have that at all. He doesn't care if the car is moving and it's safe and he's good. I might need a particular situation to really feel good. I remember that first car I bought and getting into it and the exhilaration. So yes, it's an accomplishment to go from poverty to being able to provide for yourself and take care of things like that. But part of the exhilaration was it gave me too much self-esteem.
Yeah.
I started to see myself attached to things, and those things providing value, because they said to the world, I'm not that little poor girl anymore. You don't have to feel sorry for me anymore. You don't have to, you don't have to, you won't laugh at me anymore, you know? And I didn't realize for a very long time that the little girl in me was driving that car. She was driving that car. She was the one who was deciding that I needed an extra one of these or those. And I was really overly generous. And I also wanted people to have an idea of how well paid I was and things like that. So I realized that there was a point in in my life where my income, my title, my stuff was where my identity lied. That's a
Right.
dangerous place to be, because what
Yeah.
happens when that stuff goes away? Who are you when that's all stripped away? If you don't feel good about who's inside, who you are at your core without all of that stuff, you're out of balance, and there's some work that needs to be done. And so a lot of those decisions, Lee, I know it's a long way to answer a really simple question, but a lot of those decisions come from the fact that that inner turmoil and that self-belief is not there. So you need to put on all the frills and prove to the world, which really you're trying to prove to yourself that you matter, that you're of value,
Wow.
that you're okay.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, I could totally relate to, I grew up on the east side of San Jose on food stamps and welfare. And I was a kid. I never told anybody where I lived. Drop me off at the corner. Drop me off
Mm-hmm.
across the street. Oh no, this is fine. I can walk from right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of shame that can come from that. But I
Mm-hmm.
would see families that had nice houses with green grass and shiny cars. And I always wondered, I mean, I was little, I was 4 or 5 years old. And I remember thinking, how did they get that? We would go
Mm-hmm.
pay our rent and go to the landlord's house, and he would just have this beautiful house. And I'd always wonder, wow, how do you become a landlord? Right? I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be a renter. I want to know how to be a landlord. And I love what you said was, it's about, where is your value? Do you
Mm-hmm.
put the value in things, or do you put the value in yourself? It's about
Right.
knowing your self-worth. It's about
Exactly.
increasing your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And my mentor explains it this way. He says our identity is like a thermostat. If you have
Mm-hmm.
a thermostat set at 76 degrees, if it gets a little bit cooler, then the thermostat warms it up a little bit. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, if it gets too hot, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Our identity, our self value, our self worth will bring it back down. So, our job is to increase our identity. So, share with me what you feel is at the core of people understanding what their mindset, money mindset, and their identity. Where do you see that? How do you see that relating? The money mindset and their identity.
Yeah. So the right way for us to look at money is as a tool. As a tool, money can help you achieve the goals that you have in your life. Money can help you do more for others. Money can help you set up a legacy for your family, and well beyond the family that you'll live long enough to meet. I have my kids laugh. I laugh with my kids all the time, and I tell them I want to be that that crotchety old lady that's over everybody's fireplace, and the kids are wondering, Mom, why do y'all have that old picture up? Oh, that was your great 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 grandma Cassandra, who started this legacy that set this
That's
family
right.
up on the trajectory that we are today. You have the things that you have because she laid the foundation way back when. And so that's a value of mine. That's something that's important to me. So I can say no to that luxury item today, because I'm looking at something so much bigger, so much more important in the future, for people that are so important to me, the family that I won't even ever meet, right? And so if you see money as a tool, then you manage it that way. When you need to knock down a wall, you don't go get a screwdriver, right? You get a
Mm,
hammer, you get something big that's going to help you push it down. And but when we don't think about money right, and all we're thinking about is I need this next item so that I show up in a certain way, then money actually becomes our Achilles heel. We're mismanaging it, and we're always moving it around from one place to the other. Well, if I pay a little bit on this, then maybe I can get that. I was talking about that this morning. The financial system is so set up to harm those who don't understand how to manage money. One of the highlights of my life as a mom is when my daughter was graduating, had just graduated from college, and she was furnishing her first apartment. She thought she had no debt, that, it'd be pretty easy for her to get whatever she wanted to get. So we went to a furniture store and she was picking out like a bedroom suit or something. And the guy ran her credit, and because she didn't have any, what he should have said, your mom's standing there, maybe she'll co-sign for you. But what he did was he pulled her aside and he took her to the back of the store to talk to her about their payment plan. This is where the poor people go. This is where people who don't understand money go, because that same couch, if you save up for it on your own and go back and get it when you've got most of the money or all the money, versus letting them take you to the back of the store and say, pay this much a week. It's only this much a week. So you never own the couch, right? By the time you pay for that couch, it may have been $800, but by the time you pay for it, you've paid about $3,000 or more. And so I stood back and I let him do his whole pitch and talk to my daughter about how little she would have to pay and how she could get that room and other stuff. And I just let him do his thing. And then when he was finished, I said, thank you. And please don't be offended, because I understand that you're just doing your job, but now it's my turn to do mine. And I turned my daughter away from him and locked eyes with her. And I said, let's find a seat. And I'm going to tell you what he didn't say. And I said, how much is the couch? And she looked at the cost. And I said, okay, this is how much you're going to be paying. How many times do you have to make that payment? Do the math. Let's see how much, by the time you've paid for it, how much it really cost you. She was floored. She wouldn't have done the math. She wouldn't have even thought about it in that moment, because like many people, especially when you're young or when you're in those positions where it's the things versus the value, she was just excited that she was going to be able to get it. Never dawned on her to do the math. She didn't realize the manipulation that's set up for people who don't have money to never be able to crawl out if you don't stop making the same decisions over and over again. And so that was a lesson that stuck with her. She owns her home, their car, because she understood in real life what that decision was and how to make it well. And sometimes we tell people what to do instead of how to do. And I was so proud as a mom to be able to tell her how to make these assessments. So when I'm not standing there, she can go off and make good decisions for herself. And we have to do that for ourselves as well. Like, I really want to go on this vacation. My husband I had to travel for business, and I was in Raleigh, and he was thinking about, popping up. It's a, quick flight to Raleigh. And he was like, I was looking at it, and since it was last minute, the flight was this. We could afford the flight, but was that the best use of money? Was that the smart decision? If he had asked me, I would have been like, just come on down. It's fine. We'll have a good time. He was like, I looked at this and we said we were going to do that. So I decided I'll just see you when you get back on Friday, because that temporary pleasure can mess up your long-term plans.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't think about that. I say that to my people all the time, my family. Yes, the dress was on sale. Yes, you got it for a good price, but you also have a closet full. So squeezing in one more dress, what is that doing for you? Oh, it's no big deal. It doesn't really cost anything. But come the end of the month, when it's getting close to, it's time to get ready to pay bills all over again, those 3, 4, 5 dresses that you bought, that each one of them individually was no big deal, have now shortened you to be able to take care of your monthly commitments. And we have to be able to think about it. And when it's a tool, we can think about it because we remove the emotions from it. We have emotional attachments to money. Some people get angry when you talk about money. It's no big deal. Nobody needs it. Well, I don't know where you live, but where we live, we need it to pay our rent or our mortgage. We need it for food. Money is important because our safety, it's a part of our psychological safety, is being able to be secure in our life, right? So everybody needs it. And then after that, it comes the fun stuff that you build up on top, and planning for your future. I'm not going to work forever. What am I going to do if a medical emergency arises? There's so many things for us to think about. And if we don't make those priority over that short-term pleasure, then we keep making bad decisions and putting ourselves deeper and deeper in a hole.
Absolutely, man. There's so much. We could have like a whole chapter on just this. So the couple of things I want to hit on is, money is a tool. I love that you said that. And Myron Golden says that if your goal in making money is to pay off debt, then you are thinking about it all wrong. Money is a tool. It's not there for us to pay off debt or to pay a bill. Because by the way, if that's our goal, then you're always going to have debt. You're always going to have a bill. What you focus on attracts and expands. So I love that you said that, and making those minimum payments. I have a couple of clients right now that they owe hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Mm-hmm.
School loans, student loans, credit for like 15 credit cards. I don't get this very often, but he says we could make the minimum payments.
Right.
I said, but you're never going to be out of debt. That's like a
Mindset.
noose. It's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think you're thinking of money as a tool? What do you think the average person or someone who's struggling with their money mindset, what do they think of money as? Do they think of it as just paying bills, or what do you see that is the difference of seeing money as a tool and what sometimes really creates a lot of boundary, burdens and challenges for people to really see it that way? Where's their mindset at that time?
Probably that mindset would be a mindset of lack. We're so focused on the things that we don't have that we keep pushing ourselves farther and farther in debt, we're checking the wrong boxes instead of securing our lives and getting ourselves into a position to where we can live less free with less stress. We're checking the boxes. Well, and sometimes it's that comparison thing too. If the next door neighbor got a new car, then I'm not going to have them one up me. I'm going to this job and everybody has the Gucci bag, so I need one too. All my girlfriends travel, so I need to go too. And I don't want people to not enjoy their lives. Right. But I just want you to be mindful of, first of all, getting really clear about what it is you're trying to accomplish with this life. What are the things that are important to you? And if you go to there and you start with your values, what's really important to you, then you can align how you use your money with those values and you'll start to make better decisions. And that's how you use it as a tool. What I started to say earlier, if you need to knock down a wall, you pick up the right tool, right? If you are sad, and the way you take care of being sad is to go shopping, that's the wrong tool for dealing with sadness. So maybe you need a therapist, maybe you need a coach, maybe you just need a good cry with your girlfriend. You get to decide what that is. But if you see yourself in a pattern that when you're lonely, when you're sad, when you're frustrated, you go for retail therapy, that's the wrong type of therapy, because the sadness is still going to be there when you return. Now you've got extra debt to stress you out in addition to whatever you were sad about, and you haven't dealt with the root problem. So I think to really answer your question, Leah, is we use money to solve problems instead of using it as a tool to set up our life. So you have to really go back to what's going on inside that's making me make these decisions, and then deal with that. And then the money part will start to take care of itself so much better.
That was a soundbite. That was a golden nugget right there. They see money as to solve problems and not a tool to get the things that they want for their future. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so good. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So I love talking about generational and multi-generational wealth. I just helped a client, and his first question to me was this: him and his wife working on their living trust. And they said, well, this is all sounds good, but our question is, can we leave money? Can we leave assets to children who are not even born yet? Mm-hmm. And guess what? The answer is yes, you can. Mm-hmm. You absolutely can. And I am just like you. We are so of the same. I am going to be that crotchety old lady with hopefully by then, because I'm supposed to get a boyfriend this year, but we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to be that crotchety old lady that everybody's going to say, who is that lady? What did she do? We don't know, but we know her name. just like the Rockefellers. They
Exactly.
know their great, 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 great granddaddy.
Yep.
And that's what we can we can all do that. It's
We
just
can.
about that mindset. So, one of the things I love, I think that questions are the answer.
Mhm. I love that.
So, what are some of the questions you said? People come from lack, they have to identify their patterns. What are some good questions people can ask themselves? Maybe they're not sure where their mindset is right now, or maybe they're feeling like, yeah, maybe I do some of that shopping therapy, or maybe I do need to figure out if I do need some therapy or, counseling, or maybe your mindset coach. What are some good questions that people can ask themselves, kind of like a little temperature check?
I love that. I love that. And I know we're talking a lot about, some of the things that maybe how we should and shouldn't look at money and things like that. But I hope nothing that we're saying is coming off condescending or I'm not preaching to the choir, because
No.
I am leading the choir. I've done these things, guys. So I'm
Right.
coming from a point of, ask yourself what's going on inside. When you get ready to drive to that store and you're getting ready to go inside, ask yourself why. Am
Mm,
I buying this because I have a true need, or is there something else going on? And you have to slow down. Impulse buying is huge. That's why they got all the good stuff right at the register, and they have the things on the end caps as you're walking through to grab your attention, because without you even thinking about it, you'll start grabbing that stuff and dropping it in the
yeah.
basket. So the stores know, the people who build these marketing campaigns, they know psychologically what's going on in our heads better than we do. So they've set it up to win. So you have to be willing to not be so impulsive and just take a step back so that you can ask yourself a question. And the first question is why? Why
Right.
am I doing this? I shopped because it made me feel more alive. It made me feel capable in places where I might feel weak. Because I had the resources to go in and buy that thing, it made me feel more powerful.
Yeah.
So, where was my power going to come from when I couldn't buy the thing? That's the work I need to do. So you have to figure out what's going on. What would happen if I didn't make this purchase? Ask yourself that. Is
Right.
there a place where I could better utilize this resource? Should it go into savings? Should I invest it? Is there somebody in my life that needs it more than I need this thing that I'm about to buy? As you start to just don't unconsciously be a spender and a shopper. Just give
Right.
yourself, tap in just enough to ask yourself some questions. But the first one is why? How does this make me feel? When I realized that car made me feel more important, it made me feel like a better person, then I knew that I had some work to do. My esteem was externally placed. I've got to feel good about me first thing in the morning. Forget a car. And you know what? I've been driving that same car for probably 7 years or so. It's still cute. I still
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
There's a part of me, because we always are who we are. There's a part of me that every once in a while goes, I should just go get the new latest whatever. And that would be great. But at my age and getting closer to retirement and having plans I don't have to plan for my kids anymore. They're adults. I'm planning for my grandkids and for my
Right.
great grandkids. And there's some things that is important for me to leave them behind. Like I want to leave every child a piece of property, an actual house. They can decide to live in it if times get hard. They can rent it out to have extra income. They can do whatever they want to with it because it's going to be theirs. And so when you have goals for yourself, it helps you. It helps you with your whys, and it helps you to make wiser decisions with your
Yeah.
resources, because money is a resource.
Yeah. The power of the pause.
Ooh,
The power of the
yes.
pause. And for me, that looks like sometimes I will just be in my office and I will literally close the blinds, turn off the lights. And I would say sometimes I meditate, but maybe sometimes I just go get a drink of water. I
Mm-hmm.
just sit in silence. I just pick up a book, listen to somebody pour life into me. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that pause, if you can embrace the pause, I think all of us would make, we would just give ourselves an opportunity to really decide at this. Maybe you decide that you do need that, retail therapy. That's what you need at that moment. Like you were sharing, Cassandra, there's no judgment here. We
No, and
all,
it's fine if that's not the if that's not it. Every once in a while, I'm a woman.
yeah,
I like to smell
absolutely.
good, look good, feel good, get all spit and polished.
That's it.
Sure, I'm going to have those times. But if that is what is required in order for me to feel good, that's when it's
Yeah,
gone too far. And there's some work in another area that I need to do. There's nothing wrong with a little retail share therapy. I like
that's
to go
right.
with my girlfriends and just see what we can find sometimes. So I'm not against it. I'm just saying, check in with yourself and see what's happening in that moment. Is it spending time with friends, or maybe even just alone time for yourself? Is it, I just want to do a little something else in the house? Great, you deserve it, you're working hard. But is it, I don't feel valuable unless I've got this particular label. I don't feel accomplished unless I have, fill in the blank. When it goes into that category, now you've associated your own worth with an external thing. That's what we don't want to see.
Yeah, I love that. So asking yourself, do I feel valuable, or how do I feel valuable? What brings my value? What helps me to bring my value?
Hmm.
So I just love this. And you've talked about the 4 P's. I know
I
that you
have.
kind of touched on that. And I love the concept of pruning,
Hmm.
because when I think of pruning, I think of my grandparents used to have a garden. They used to have trees, and they would cut everything back, and it would look really sad.
Yeah.
But
Sparse.
then it seems
Yeah.
like a day or two later, it would come back even bigger. So that
Exactly.
little visual comes in my mind. But sometimes when it comes to the actual pruning or our money mindset, things that don't really serve us, it can be challenging. So, what are some things that people can do when it comes to their money mindset? What can they prune, or maybe some questions they can ask themselves? What are some kind of things that they can do to prune away those beliefs that don't serve us, right?
Right. So I don't know if I don't think we've talked about the 4 P's in their entirety with your audience today, but I've talked about it quite a bit in my rooms. So let me run through that really quickly. So the 4 P's is something that came to me in the space of personal development and growth. And what Leah is talking about is that very first P, and that's the pruning phase. That before we're ready to grow, before we're ready to do all of these great things, we have to identify the things that are no longer serving us,
Yeah.
and we have to get rid of those things. That's what we mean by pruning. So if you have a poor relationship with money, if you're somehow emotionally attached to money, if you have bad habits and you just go out and spend because you need a little boost of energy to feel good about yourself, you have to do an assessment and see what your relationship really with money really is and where it comes from. Maybe you can't, like me, you came from lack and you swore that you would never be in that situation again, and you certainly wouldn't allow your children to be in that situation. So money is a big flashing, light in your life, right? And people, usually one or two ways when they come from lack. Either they spend, they're like, I've done without long enough, so I'm going to have the things I want while I'm still on this planet. And then you have people who can get really miserly and not want to spend a dime because they're so afraid of ever being without again, right? But
Yeah.
just like everything, all things in moderation. So in the middle, right, is where you make good decisions with your money, but you also allow your money to allow you to enjoy this thing called life. So in the middle is the sweet spot. So pruning is getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. And in order to do that, you've got to do that self-reflection, Leah. You've got to figure out how money makes you feel, what you use it for besides the tool that it is, and ask yourself those questions so that you can understand where the
Yeah.
work is. Do I need to
Right.
do some therapy? Do I need to work with a coach? Do I need to get a good financial advisor who can help me figure out how to manage my money and get a plan in place? There's all sorts of things that you can do, but first you have to identify where that gap is that needs to be filled.
That's so great. I love the 4 P's. I know I want to talk more about that for sure. I'm looking forward to that. And by the way, Cassandra has some amazing ebooks. She just dropped an incredible ebook, money ebook that I am just loving. I am actually teaching my team from it. And so, one question I want to know from you is that when it comes to employee mindset, money
Mhm.
mindset, and entrepreneur mindset, it is really two different animals. Complete, there's no crossover. It's really helping people to understand the difference. So, what do you see keeps people from their mindset of wanting a safe, secure job? And maybe they have that burning desire to start their own business, to become an entrepreneur. Maybe they have an idea or a concept that they would love to really explore. What do you
Mhm.
think is the challenge with their mindset, or what are some things that maybe they could help to identify the difference, and if maybe they're ready to explore an entrepreneur mindset?
Yeah, I think you said it even in your question is security. You can't put a price tag on it, right? So knowing that that paycheck is coming every 2 weeks, every month, whatever your schedule is, you've grown to rely on that. And so there's some comfort and there's some security in that. But the world that we live in today, it's hard to maintain that security because companies are making tough decisions and it's the employees that are, either you're losing your job or you're having to do two or three jobs because someone next to you have lost theirs. So it is a difficult time, right, in this country for many people. So if you do have an idea, if you do have a burning desire, that's not a coincidence. It's there for a reason.
Yeah,
And sometimes and it's hard to feel fulfilled in your life if you don't try and work through those real deep seated desires that you have. So I would encourage you to, all things balanced. I wouldn't say, oh, just quit your job and,
right.
cash out your 401k and use that money to invest in your new business. Now, and me, I'm all mindset, guys. I am not a financial professional in any way. But what I'm saying is that probably would not be prudent. It certainly isn't what I would want to do. If you've got a safety net of some sort, or if you're a big risk taker and that's your way of doing things, more power to you. But to the average person, that is a huge leap. And they usually have, like most of us, responsibilities that they've, even though they're trying to do something different, their bills are still due at the same time every month, right?
Right.
So you have to balance those two things. So is there a way where you can start to, in a small way, invest in your idea? Do you need to take a class to learn how to make the widget that's, do you need to network and get with certain people who know how to do a part of the process? So baby steps. I am not a big leap person. I believe in small, consistent steps. And
Yeah,
and because when you're doing things that way, you're able to make mistakes, learn from them, integrate that learning into your path, and keep moving forward more and more informed each step along the way. And I know,
right.
Leah, you've heard me talk about lottery winners. We dream about that. Wouldn't it be great to have this big windfall? But many of us, if we actually won it, it'd be gone in a matter of a few years
Right.
because we haven't the discipline, we haven't the know-how to manage a large sum of money like that. So that's the beauty of those small, consistent steps. If you're making good choices with your money, if you're investing, if you're saving, if you're careful about how much you spend and when, and you start to build up over time, you've got the good habits to manage the pot no matter how big it gets. And so those small, consistent steps is what's going to get you there and keep you there and allow you to keep growing. So that's my thing. And that also goes back to that, that pause period. We want it now, we want it quickly, but we get paced. The universe will pace us. Sometimes we get what we need, but what we want before we know how to manage it. And what happens? We end up squandering that blessing. It's gone. I wasted that money. I wasted that relationship. I wasted that whatever because I didn't see it for what it was and I didn't know how to manage it. So if we can take those small, consistent steps and get there that way, or when the windfall does come, reach out to the folks who can help us manage it, then we're going to be so much better off. So much better
Yeah.
off.
And part of that is really the rules of money, right? There's no such thing as something for nothing. If
Right.
we receive this huge windfall and our identity is still really low, then that thermostat is going to automatically, just through osmosis, suddenly there's going to be a bigger bill. And then most lottery winners don't end up broke. They end up worse than they were, in debt, filing bankruptcy,
Yeah.
worse than they were when they started. So that's so true. There's just no such thing as something for nothing. It may be some equity, right? Maybe it's that sweat equity. Doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean that you have to come in with money. It means you got to have some kind of skin in the game. You cannot
Exactly.
go to the bank and make withdrawals if you have not made any deposits. They call that robbery, and that's all bad. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So I hear this a lot too. I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of female entrepreneurs, and they've got an idea, they've got a logo, they're getting up early, they're doing all the social media, and they're investing all their time and energy into their business. But as soon as it comes time to collect the check, they kind of push it away. Oh, that's okay. I'll catch me next time. Or I just don't feel comfortable asking them for the money. Or I didn't feel right. That was probably too much. I probably should lower my prices.
Mhm.
Help us, like, what can people do if they're kind of struggling, if they're an entrepreneur, doing all the right things, investing in all the right things, doing all the right decisions to build their business, but then they're almost have a fear or reluctance to accept that. What can you help us with on that mindset if someone's struggling with that?
Yeah, that is purely mindset. That's not seeing the value in what you're bringing. That's it. Also, just like we have a fear of failure, we also have a fear of success sometimes. With success comes additional responsibilities, right? I remember starting my business and I didn't even realize I was starting. It started out as something that I really enjoyed doing. And then people
Right.
started asking me, well, can you do this? Can you do that? And how much do you charge? And I was like, oh, wait, I'm on to something. But when it came to the charging part, I felt somewhat vulnerable. I felt like I was now taking this thing that I loved, that I had a passion to do, and associating a dollar amount with it. And now these other people have expectations of some level of performance, and maybe I can hit it and maybe I can't. So there was a fear of success can make it. Once the money is associated with it, there's been an exchange. I've agreed to do something. You've agreed to what you're going to pay me for it. I've got to deliver. So, Leah, if I don't feel good about myself, even though I've built this business, as long as I'm giving it away, hey, if I mess up, if there's a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. But once we solidify this thing and the contract's in place, even if it's a verbal contract, and you're going to pay me to do it, now the pressure's on me to deliver.
Right.
So if my mindset isn't right, if I'm still not assured that I'm bringing value and that I can give you what you need, maybe it's easier just not to take the money.
Wow. That is so deep. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to rewind this and watch that last clip because that was so, so deep. And oftentimes I'll hear people and they'll say, well, it was really easy. It only took me 5 minutes. It was really easy.
Mm-hmm.
I just threw it real together. They thought it
Mm-hmm.
was great, but it only took me, a couple of minutes. But they don't understand that's your value. That's your
Your
gifting.
time.
And when
Mm-hmm.
you're in your gifting, it should feel effortless. It should just flow and come together. But I always tell this story of the plumber story.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this guy, he was working on his house, and, suddenly the water leaks and he's got to fix his plumbing. And so he figures, I'll just go down to Home Depot and get some wrenches and kind of washers and try to put it together. And, he had to go back again, and then he had to go back again. 3 or 4 or 5 days later, he just decides, I better call a plumber. So the plumber comes in, takes a look, goes out to his truck, gets a little hammer, a little screwdriver, tap, tap here, tap, tap there, hands him a bill for $500. And the homeowner says, What? What do you mean? You were only here for 5 minutes. How could it cost me $500? And the plumber says, you're not paying me for my time. You're paying me for the work and the effort of my knowledge that it took for me to understand what tools to get and where to tap, tap. So when you're in your gifting, you should never feel apologetic for charging. because you may
Right.
know something. I'm not a techie person, and a PowerPoint might not seem like a big deal to you, but it'll cost me hours of trying to figure that out, right? So I just love that. So do you find that that's something that people struggle a lot with? They just feel like their gift is, they don't recognize their gift. It's kind of invisible to them. They don't see it as something that people would value because
Yeah.
it comes so easy to them.
Mhm. Because it's so natural to them. Yeah, exactly. I see that. I see that all the time. I see that all the time. And I've said, especially to my family members, because we're up close and personal, right? And I, kind of know their journey. I say to people all the time, we all were born with everything that we need to have everything that
Yeah,
we desire. To
right.
get out of poverty, God gave me a mouthpiece and a brain. To get out of poverty, he gave my sister and my mom the gift of song. To get out of poverty, he gave my niece and my nephew the ability to draw beautiful things. Now, whether or not each one of those people use their gifting and develop that gifting so that it could help them move forward, that's their story to tell. But we all have that gifting, and they could do that. Those things I would have to work so hard at, where for them it's just nothing. It's just what they're able to do, right? And we all have that. People say that to me, how do you get on the couch? How do you talk for so long every day? That it's I'm just a talker, right? And thank God there's some value in that. I'm not just talking about anything. I'm trying to actually bring value based on my life experiences and things like that. And God gave me the gift of transparency. So a
Mm,
lot of the things I don't have shame associated with. The poverty, a lot of the mistakes that I've made, things that some people don't want to talk about are exactly the things that I want to talk about, because there's somebody that's either in that situation,
yeah.
starting that situation, right in the middle, can't see their way out. And I want them to hear something that I say, or a community of people that I'm talking to say, and they go, okay, if they can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
If one person says that at my funeral, I will have lived a life well lived, because all the things that I've been through, the stress of them, the angst of them, I've
Right.
seen that melt away, because I also see the value in them. Even in my darkest times, I learned something about myself. I got better in some way and was able to share something with somebody else to help them keep going. Gift of
That's
encouragement. That's a
good.
gift.
That is so, so good. I love that. The gift of transparency. For a long time, for me, I didn't tell my story. I didn't say anything about the before. It was like there
Mhm,
was so much shame about getting a
mhm,
divorce and, different things like that, or growing up and never telling anybody where you lived and all
mhm.
those things. And, my mentor taught me that your mess will become your message. And I started to
Exactly.
really meditate on that. Okay, well, if it's a mess right now, at some point, I guess it could inspire somebody, because I hear your story and it's so inspirational to me. But I love that you have that gift of transparency. And I think that's why your message comes across so clean and so clear, and it resonates with so many of us, because you've handled all of those little things that maybe we didn't feel so excited about in the beginning, right? When we can embrace that, that's truly when we find our power, and truly when we can really be that inspiration for other people. So, man, that was so, so good. I don't think I've ever heard you say that. And I've stalked
I don't
a
think I've
lot of
ever said it.
well, that was beautiful. I love that. So
Thank
we
you.
see this beautiful background. I'm just so
Mhm.
excited about this whole soar in 2024. Tell us more, because we all want to soar in 2024 and beyond. Tell us more
And
about
we are
this.
all capable of soaring in 2024 and beyond. So over the holidays, right after Christmas every year, we have a vacation spot that's down on the water. And every year, the day after Christmas, we go. And that is always my most creative time.
Love it.
And I don't have any responsibilities. The clock doesn't matter. And I can just let things flow. And a lot of times I get what I call my divine downloads. And I actually was working with somebody that Brian Smart, And we were talking, getting ready for the new year and talking about what we were going to do individually, what we were going to do as the collective, the fam. And we were just kind of planning. And I was working with him on helping me reshape one of my courses. I have this course, the 6 C's of to overcome self-limiting beliefs, because those self-limiting beliefs is that voice within that I'm always talking about. So I've got this on-demand course out there, but not that many people know about it. Not that many people have taken it. So the marketing, it just isn't there. I haven't put it out there. And so we started talking about that. And somehow from there, we started talking about my coaching philosophy and what was SOAR what was the 6 C's encapsulated in, and SOAR was born. And
Wow.
SOAR is your strengths. It's really about self-discovery and finding your strengths. The O is about overcoming. The A is about achieving your goals, and the R is about developing a resilient mindset. So all the meeting, all those lives that I do every day, Leah, all the newsletter posts and the blogging and the things that I've done, the class that I have out there, I've written a workbook around goal setting. Everything that I've done, that conversation with Brian wrapped that up in a bow called SOAR. And it made everything make sense to me. I was doing a bunch of things, but they were kind of fragmented, right? And I was trying to figure out, how do I pull this all together? And in pulling that framework together and really taking the time to document it is what helped everything make sense for me. And so SOAR Beyond Your Limits in 2024. SOAR in 2024 is it. And that's what I'm trying to do, what my collective is trying to do, what people like you are trying to do. Cue up the conversations that can help people find those limits and move past them, achieve past them once and for all, and keep moving forward. And so we've got a challenge that's going to be coming up soon, the SOAR Beyond Limits challenge. And so for 4 days, we'll be doing activities an hour a day to help you work through SOAR. There's a book that's coming in about a month. That's the full SOAR framework outlined with an associated workbook. And so we're just over the moon excited about SOAR. We do have the, so you guys heard me talk about the voice within wins, and that's the core of what I believe. And that's the URL for my website, thevoicewithinwins.com. So we have a site now for SOAR. The Voice Within Win. I'm sorry for I'm mixing up my I'm mixing up my
That's okay.
I've got so many things going on. They just
Yes, you do.
So let me rewind. You mentioned that there's an ebook, and I don't want us, for this particular audience, I don't want us to miss that, because I really pushed to get it polished and ready for your audience, because I know with you being a financial professional and the people who follow you, that's what they're looking for. So I've created this ebook, and it's around your money mindset. It's and it's about going within and figuring out what your relationship is with money and what you can do as you uncover these things that need to be worked on. And so if you go to thevoicewithinwins.com/money mindset, that will take you in to allow you to download the ebook. It's not a big book, so you don't have to worry, but it is rich with information, and it can really help you get underneath the mindset portion of your relationship and how you're managing and using money. So that's the real thing I wanted to share with your audience. So, and in downloading that, Leah, and getting in that part, you'll hear more. You'll be able to see and hear more about SOAR in the coming weeks as we pulled out the whole campaign together to get ready for the challenge and the book. But let's start with that ebook, thevoicewithinwins.com/money mindset. And we can put the link as well after your.
We can definitely attach it to that. I got to tell you, it is not long, but if you go through it, it is absolutely going to transform your money mindset. It's just a real easy format. And it is so good, Cassandra, that I'm actually using it as an outline to train my team.
I love that. I love that.
I
So
mean,
my time is well spent. And I don't know if we said it, y'all, there's no charge. It's a free ebook. So you can download it at no charge. You can kind of dig into my mindset philosophy in more detail, and more importantly, you can apply that philosophy to your relationship with money.
Absolutely. It is fire. I promise you, it's worth the time to download it. It's a free ebook, but I promise you're going to want to send her money anyway, because you are absolutely transform your financial outlook and your mindset, because it all starts with the infrastructure. If we don't have the right infrastructure, we're just going to continue to keep poverty is going to continue poverty. We're going to still continue to squander our money. We're going to still continue to attract the same things, right? Over and over again. Doing the same thing and expecting different results is called insanity. And we ain't insane on here. No crazy people here. Well, that's our time, Miss Cassandra. Man, this was so fire. This is one that people are going to watch over and over again. You drop so much wisdom, so many golden nuggets, so many gold bars. And I just love what you're doing. I just love everything that you share. That's why I'm all over your YouTube and Facebook, and I'm following you here and there. And I love the fam and all the content that you share that is free. I'm just excited to see you just really, you're soaring, because you're going to bring all of us with you.
Absolutely. If you're ready to roll up your sleeves and do the work, let's go. Let's accomplish all of our dreams together and soar in 2024 and beyond. And Leah, I appreciate you so much. You don't have any idea how much you inspire me and how much you uplift me. You are somebody that is in my corner all the time, just cheering and saying things that help keep me going. And so I appreciate you. And you'll never know. You knocked me off of my seat when you told me you had taken my little ebook and you were using it to train your financial professionals. That just made me understand even better that I'm on the right track. People like, why is she talking about money? People have asked me to be in other spaces, and I'm like, it doesn't really, but mindset is the foundation for everything. So again, recalibrating my own thinking and realizing there's not a room that I can't be impactful in, because we need to talk about the foundation to make sure that you're solid and you're able to accomplish whatever it is that you're after, whatever the topic, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And see, I just have to give myself credit for my generosity, because I would just love to keep you all to myself, but I want the world to know your message. So I know you'll still carve out some time for me, so that's okay. We got
it. Absolutely. If you call, I'm going to answer.
Wednesday. It was amazing. It was wonderful. I enjoyed this so much. I got tons of notes, and I appreciate your time and looking forward to our next chapter in 2024. Miss Cassandra.
Can I invite your guests to join me every Tuesday through
Please do.
Friday morning? I have the Cassandra Terry Morning Show at 7:15 a.m. Central. Sometimes Leah's was a guest not too long ago, but I've got my fam with me, and we're tackling mindset and intentionality and focus and gratitude and all the things that you can use to help you shore up how you are showing up in the world. And Leah and I on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. Central, we're on Motivation Monday with Eric and friends. So every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Central, we're doing that. And then the rest of the week at 7:15 a.m. Central is the Cassandra Terry Morning Show.
Awesome. So follow us, like, comment, share. We'd love to hear from you. So that's our Wealthy Wednesday. Thank you, folks. We will see you all at the top, because we all know it's way too crowded at the bottom.
I love it. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.